Hi, and welcome to our show today. We're going to be showing you some interesting books and some interesting things medically. The most important one is this Life Vac, and I've asked Gloria Yorke to join me. She's a master tarot reader, but she can also be a consumer advocate today. So I wanted to show you this very important thing that saves lives, and she's going to help me show it to you. This is actually a Life Vac, and there have been situations where they've saved children and adults who are choking if they couldn't do the Heimlich maneuver or if it wasn't working on them. And we're going to show you how this works. There's a mask that goes on into this right here, and you put it on the person. This is very similar to the restroom plunger. And someone developed this because of the fact that it works so well to get things out of people's choking, out of their throat. And I was mentioning that when I worked in the emergency room, we found it was very difficult to use the instrument, the curved instrument that we normally use to get something out of somebody's throat, to get a hot dog out or something, because it breaks off and it breaks into pieces. And so people are still choking, and it can go into their lungs and that. Now this particular thing, like I said, has been used. I guess there was one man in a restaurant. He saw a child choking. He ran out to his car. He had one in the car, got this and saved the child's life. You insert the mask into the unit with a firm twisting motion while applying pressure. Make sure you check the mask to ensure it's attached to the unit. The stem of the mask does not need to be completely inserted into the unit. Place the mask over the nose and mouth, including chin upwards. Mask must be held firmly over the nose and mouth with the hand. Holding the mask in place with one hand and chin held upwards, push the handle down with the other hand to compress the unit. Once the handle is depressed, pull the handle upward with a short, swift tug while holding the mask firmly in place. Roll the person on the side, sweep the mouth clear of any debris, check the unit for debris, repeat steps as necessary. If Life Vac is used, refer to the information page, literature, indications. There should be one of these in every restaurant, in every child care, in every public facility, actually.
And every home.
And every home, right, yeah. It's very interesting that this man did this and
Yeah,
you know.
It's simple to use.
So you can just get your little package. You can call Life Vac or their website, which is on here, I guess. Prevention for adults. A few simple behaviors can keep you and your loved ones from choking. Soft foods such as peanut butter, cookies, cakes, as well as meat and larger chunks of fruit can all cause an adult to choke. Some of these are harder to chew. Chew food slowly, especially if you wear dentures. Refrain from laughing or talking while you're eating. Suggestions for the prevention of aspiration during hand feeding. Provide a 30-minute rest period prior to feeding. A rested person is less likely to have difficulty swallowing. Sit the person upright in a chair. If confined to a bed, elevate the head of the bed at a 90-degree angle. Adjust the rate of feeding and the size of bites to the person's tolerance. Avoid pushing or force feeding. Alternate solid and liquid foods. Vary the placement of the food in the person's mouth according to the type of defect. For example, food may be placed on the right side of the mouth if weakness is present on the left side. Determine the food viscosity that is best tolerated by the individual. Life Vac can save the life of someone with an airway obstruction. You can go to lifevac.net, lifevac.net. And it's a very, very good idea. So I hope everybody will get one.
Excellent.
Okay, the next thing I need the big book for less. And less stuff, less stress, less distraction, less everything. I have a friend, Gloria Holland, who gave me, for my birthday, a birthday card that said, I'm not giving you a gift because you need more space. You don't need to put something away. You don't need another thing. And actually, I appreciated that. And another friend of mine just bought me dinner, which was another thing.
Oh.
Okay, in less comes the freedom of letting go. This thoughtful and surprising book shows us how to get there by paring down not just the jumble of things around us, but the clutter in our head, which makes room for more listening, more focus, more wisdom, more time, and more life. It's a one thought a day diary, a fold-out tiny house to let you imagine the pleasure of living in a small, cozy space with art posters that depict the beautiful picture. You know, I was just mentioning to somebody that I was thinking about buying a house of someone who passed away, my mother actually, And they said, why do you like it so much? I said, because all the clutter's gone, everything's gone.
Yes.
They said, yeah, well, if you buy it, it'll change in a day.
We're all that way.
Yeah.
We have way too much, don't you think?
And mail comes in.
Oh.
And I swear it duplicates overnight.
Oh, mercy,
Yeah.
yes.
I wish that I had bought a factory for paper recycling, because I would have been a billionaire by
Yes.
now with all the paper that I
Yes,
get. You know,
yes, yes.
decluttering with Astrid, declutter in 52 weeks. I'm going to see if this works.
Oh, I hope it does.
Yeah.
Then let me read
Yeah.
it. I need
Doing
it
nothing
too.
is an art. That's interesting. Dot journal poster. Distance from your thoughts, 1 thought a day. Very interesting. So you might want to buy this as a gift for someone. The big book
Of less.
of less. Finding joy in living lighter. Okay, now we're going to go to another book. And I want to mention your book, though, and you might mention what it's about.
Okay. This is a best-selling book. I've been a best-selling author. I co-authored a book, The Midas Touch, with Joe Vitelli, who is a motivational guru throughout the world. And this book I wrote on my own. It's the true story of my husband's death, which was due to doctor mistake. It's called Medical Manslaughter. Will your doctor cause your death? And so I hope that you'll try to get a copy of it, read it, because it will save your life. It will save your life. So that you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or contact your local library.
I had to laugh at one situation when my husband was in the hospital and he had a little balance problem from some medication. And he did not want anybody to go in the restroom with him. And he said, this is immoral. And I said, you know, I'm a nurse. I've had to do that myself. He said, I don't care. It's immoral. Well, I didn't know until later when I read his chart that he barricaded the nurses out of his room so that they couldn't. Okay, we have Healthcare Stewardship, a guide to improving the health of all Americans. So you can read that right after you read hers. This is by Dale M. Block, MD, and he's a practicing physician. He says healthcare takes an in-depth look at the making of significant changes in American medicine. So that's something else you might want to read. You could also read my book, which I don't have here, called Nurses on Our Own, about the things that happened with Joy Catterson and I, and Patricia Skalka co-authored it with us, about the facts that went on in the psychiatric unit, in the emergency room, and why we got terminated from our jobs for offering an outside interest to, accused of an outside interest in nursing because we worked on our days off and starting a clinic. And it was very interesting because we took the hospital to court over it, and the docket in federal court said Gibson and Catterson versus Christ. and they settled on the court steps because they knew everything we did was great. So it all turned out wonderful. Okay, this is the Complete Encyclopedia of Natural Healing, a comprehensive A to Z listing of common chronic illnesses and proven natural treatments by Gary Null. We're sitting in the office of Dr. Rindie, R-I-N-D-I-E, Coker, C-O-K-E-R, who's a naturopath, and a napropath, and she does some great treatments. She's done some on me with radio frequency. She did a treatment today because I was limping when I got here, and I also had a pain in my neck, and you saw the change immediately, right?
Yeah, she came out walking perfectly.
I was
beautiful.
Limping walking in here, as
Yes.
I've done many times,
Yes,
and walking
lots,
out.
lots
Okay.
of pain, right.
So get a hold of Dr. Rindie Coker. She's on St. Charles Road in Villa Park. Okay, the next thing we have is reflexology. Now, the reason I brought this was because I know that you know more than I know about reflexology.
So you mean the numerology?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm talking, she also had a reflexologist in here.
Yeah.
It's on my mind to get that done next.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
numerology.
me too, yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, numerology, of course, is the science of numbers. And since way back to the beginning of time, numbers have meant everything to not only the cavemen, but also up to where we are. So there's strength in numbers. And each of us, when you're born, you have a life number. And once you figure out what that life number is, and you figure it out by adding your month, your day, and your year, and you break it down to one number. Of course, there are two master numbers that you don't touch, and that's if it totals an 11 or 22. Those are master numbers, and anyone born on the day of any month on the 11th or the 22nd have special abilities, and they're here for a very special mission.
Isn't 1111 like an angel number or
Yes,
something?
yeah, because it shows like as if you're going through all these columns and going through these corridors. And lately, what's been popping up a lot is last couple months is 444. So that number is very strong. Myself, I know in doing numerology or having it done, I'm not an expert, but I have delved into it, read about it, and studied it. My master number is 9. So 9 brings me a lot of luck. So once you zero into what that number is, you could play that number or depend on that number quite a bit. So.
It says for the millennia, people have been using numerology to explore the destiny of not only people, but life events, relationship, home moves, business ventures, new pets, and anything else that has a name or starting date strongly associated with it. There are many techniques for using numerology, each of which provide insight into a different aspect of one's character or fate. This Sarah Fenton is a lifelong expert in the psychic arts, provides simple yet thorough guidance for techniques including destiny number, life path number, and heart number, as well as divining your fortune for the year, month, day, and hour.
Yeah, see, numerology is a science just like astrology. And you could deny it all you want, but the planets have a certain influence on us. And the very day you were born, the very minute you were born is very important. And so on your birth certificate, if it doesn't show the exact minute that you were born, then you should write to the capital of that state. You write to the office and you tell them a you want a birth certificate with the exact time of your birth. And they will send that to you.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, yeah. Usually cost only $25. I did it myself a couple years ago because when I was born, it didn't have it on the birth certificate.
Well, mine has it, but I was a forceps baby. They took me out, so I would not have been born at 9:05 in the morning. I would have waited till later in the day.
Yeah, but being that they pulled you out, it's not only important to know where your sun was, so that's normally your regular sign, but then your ascendant sign or your rising sign, which means where was the sun rising on the eastern horizon the minute you were born. And so it was in a particular sign. And then, of course, another major one that you want to know is where was the moon when you were born. So your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, all that means a lot to what kind of a person you end up being.
There's a book called The Secret Relationship of Birthdays by, I'm trying to think of his name now. He was on my show probably 20 years ago. He wrote this book, and The Secret Language of Birthdays, and it's so specific about the day and date that you're born that my neighbor husband was a tradesman and a gourmet chef, and it said he will be a tradesman and a gourmet chef. And it also tells you, the book was $35. It's about this thick. Probably now it's $2, I don't know. The Secret Language of Relationships he also did. But The Secret Language of Birthdays was really interesting because it also said you could match up your birthday and somebody else's exact birthday and see whether you'd get along or it'd be a volatile situation or whatever.
Oh, yeah, and all that means something. It really does, because people that have denied it and said, oh, no, I'm in love with him or whatever, and had gone and gotten married, that marriage hardly ever lasts. I mean, really, it's just volatile. Right off the top of my head, I know that a Gemini does not want to marry a Cancerian. And
do they want to marry a Scorpio?
A Gemini? Yeah.
Yeah. It would drive a Scorpio nuts, though. Although my father was a Gemini, and he did not have many personalities, as some of the other ones that I know do.
That's true.
He was a rock. Okay, we've got 5 minutes left, I think. This is called Truly Gone Reverse Effect Patches.
She said we have no more.
No, longer. We got 10, okay? New dissolving micropoint patches with hyaluronic acid and peptides for your eyes, your smile lines, fine lines, wrinkles, T-zone, and acne. I have not tried these, but I'm definitely going to. They say that they deeply penetrate the targeted areas, and they are latex-free, gluten-free, and vegan. So that's very interesting.
What's the name of that?
Truly Gone.
Truly Gone.
Truly Gone.
Wow.
Reverse effect patches.
For wrinkles and acne?
Right. You know, I spent a lot of time in the sun, so I definitely have them. I mean, everyone complimented me on my tan every year because I do tan. I don't burn, I tan.
Yeah.
But now I have the effects that I need truly gone.
Well,
Okay, your answer book, 1,001 Home Health Remedies, over 1,000 practical healing tips anybody can use at home. Is there a food that might help improve my memory? Are there any herbal remedies to relieve back and neck pain? Is there a vitamin that can help guard against heart attack? You know, that's the other thing. If you feel like you're having a heart attack, it's a good idea to take an aspirin or to take some of that red pepper because it dilates your vessels. And if you feel like you're having tachycardia, which means that your pulse is over 120 or 140 or whatever, and you can feel it, you can splash cold water in your face and help slow it down too. Dr. Quasi, who's a cardiologist friend of mine, was on the show one time. We talked about some of these things, and I later got a phone call from a man who said, you know, I'm married to a nurse, I have my own cardiologist, but what you and Dr. Quasi talked about, by the way, he's at Christ Hospital, Masood Quasi, and he said, saved my life because I went right to the emergency room. I asked for the doctor. He wasn't in the emergency room at the time, but I had a cardiac arrest and they saved me.
wow.
So this is our hospital without walls, this show.
Yes.
So, you know,
Yeah, you cover all these interesting topics that people don't even know about.
for the last 20 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
wow.
and I've learned a lot of things, you know,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting because all of these things somehow come together. Like you and I were talking earlier, and I said the body is doing a million things while we're sitting here. People don't think about what the kidneys are doing and the blood sugar is doing. Everything's reacting in a million ways, and it's a miracle when it's right because there's a million things that could go wrong. Here's something else that's new. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's the Laxolido. It's actually a thing that they put in your nose if you have trouble breathing because you've got some kind of a deviated septum or some kind of a blockage in your nose. It's like having a stent in your nose. And I guess you can keep it for 18 months or something. You should store it inaccessible to children. This nasal stent is a medical device for the treatment of decreased nasal breathing for use on a single patient, prescription device. 18 months it can be used. You need to have a doctor do this though. I mean, just don't go get one yourself. I don't think you could get it off the store shelf.
Oh.
But it's interesting because, like they said, you don't sleep right, you don't do anything. If you're not breathing right, it's a terrible thing.
So
Now, you've got some more things there. I want to talk about a little bit about what you do because I think we've mentioned everything that's here now. So you have some boxes here.
Yes, I have these oracle cards that could advise us as far as the future goes. And so we'll look at these archangel cards again and take a look at them as to what the future might hold. So we'll let our beautiful host pick a card and get advice from the angels. Okay, the archangel watching over you shows Archangel Metatron. And this talks about indigo and crystal children. There are special children, and you'll recognize them because they usually have gigantic big blue eyes.
I love blue eyes. I don't have them, but I love them.
Yeah, and they're called indigo children. And so Archangel Metatron oversees these beautiful children, and it says you have a bond with these children. In particular, you can help these children who are very sensitive. That was a message to you about this. And so there may be a chance coming up in your near future where you are going to somehow run into these kind of children. And as soon as you see them, you'll recognize them immediately for being so different. Pick another card. See what else Archangel has to say for you. Anytime you feel negative emotions, stop and say, something is important here. Otherwise, I would not be feeling this negative emotion. What is it that I want? And then simply turn your attention to what you do want. In the moment you turn your attention to what you want, the negative attraction will stop. And in the moment the negative attraction stops, the positive attraction will begin. And in that moment, your feeling will change from not feeling good to feeling really good. That is the process of pivoting. And you know, that's all about positive thinking. If you let your mind be filled with negative, oh, I feel sick, oh, it's such a dull day, oh, it's gloomy outside, then you're going to attract all that, to you. But if you look outside and you raise a curtain and yeah, it's gloomy and it's raining, you go, oh, it's beautiful, it's raining. The trees love it, the bushes love it, the grass loves it, I love it. It's just like blessings from heaven. You're going to see all of a sudden your day is going to start to change and more positive things are going to come to you. So a lot we do with our own mind that we don't even know we have that power. We have a lot of power with our mind.
I know they say that about thinking, positive things, even writing them down when you get. And a positive thing I'm just thinking of, we had a bamboo mat sent to us that's very good for people for yoga and stuff. I don't have it here. We'll do it in a future show. But if you're looking for it, they do exist. You can look up bamboo mats. It just came to my mind about a positive thing that exists that I do not have here at the moment.
Oh, I wonder if that would hurt, laying on bamboo.
I don't think so. I think they did. Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. We'll have to try it sometime.
We'll have to try
come
it.
back. You'll have to come back and lay down on it and tell me if it hurts or not. Okay, what else do you have there?
Oh, honey. Well, let's see. We talked to the angels, and the angels gave us some good messages here. Let's talk to the Blessed Mother. You know, the Blessed Mother is every Christian's heavenly mother. Whether you're Catholic, whatever religion you are, it doesn't matter. The Blessed Mother is every Christian's heavenly mother. So if you believe in God, the Blessed Mother is there to help you and watch over you. So what does the Blessed Mother, what message does she have for you today, Karon? Integrity. You trust the ability to know what is true for yourself. Trust yourself to know what is true, and you do. Pick another one. Okay. Self-respect. Honor and love yourself through healthful actions. And boy, you've been talking tonight a lot about good, healthful ways to keep yourself well and keep yourself alive. And the Blessed Mother is saying that's what it's all about. You got to help yourself first. Go ahead, pick one more. Okay, signs. Watch for, notice, and trust the signs that heaven continually sends to you. And you know, that's true. Heaven is constantly sending us spiritual messages.
Well, I've seen miracles.
Yeah.
And someone said to me the other day, well, that's because you're in medicine and you've seen miracles. But I've seen miracles that weren't medicine, too. I have a friend that was extremely overweight. She was very depressed. Her husband committed suicide. Her house had been on fire and all this stuff. And she was hoping to fall in love. And I said, well, you got to get out of your house because no one's going to come walking into your house to find you. And actually, she went to a group called Fat Women and the Men Who Love Them. And she met a man 11 years younger than her, and they're madly in love.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that was one of my miracles that I've seen. Well, but I've seen other ones happen, too.
Yeah. Well, in my book, Medical Manslaughter, do you know 6 miracles occurred? 6 miracles occurred while my husband was ill, and that would be within a 6-month period. First thing they said when he went into the coma is the head of neurology at the hospital said to me, let him die. And I said, what'd you say?
That's not someone that has taken an oath. I mean, that's a terrible thing. Doctors used to say, here's what's wrong with you, let me worry about it, I'll fix you. Now they don't do that anymore, and it makes me really, and any doctor who would say that, I'd say get another doctor, because that's not a doctor speaking. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
That doctor was the head of neurology at this major Chicago hospital.
Let me bring something up. Well, listen, I had the head of infectious disease. I told him to take a culture of my husband's foot, and he refused to do it. He said, cultures don't work. I said, cultures don't work. They've been working for hundreds of years. Why don't they work? Well, I give lectures on how cultures don't work. I had someone else take the culture. There were 3 infections. So, of course, I put in a complaint, which you can do, put in a complaint with the state of Illinois with the license about any doctor or nurse for whatever. But I mean, it's terrible how some of them will fight even, and I know I'm right. I mean, I was with a patient that went in with a kidney stone and they wanted to give the patient Demerol, and it's morphine. That's the thing you give them because it stops the spasming of the ureter too. And I said to the nurse, that patient should have morphine, not Demerol. She said, I know that. I said, well, why didn't you tell the doctor? Because I'm telling the doctor what to do. And I could tell you all kinds of stories like that in my career. We had very good education at Mount Sinai with the medical students and everything. And when I went to another community hospital, it was all different. They often didn't know what they were doing. There's a lot of smart doctors in this world, and they're smart enough to listen to the nurses. They're smart enough to listen to each other. But remember, half of them graduated in the bottom of their class. So if you're not getting the right answers, and if, you know, that's another thing. Before you let anybody go, only a neurosurgeon or a neurologist should decide if you're brain dead. Nobody else should decide that, ever. So, you know, other doctors may want to do that or whatever. You know, it's a dangerous thing if you sign something about, you know, giving your organs away, and you know, they might be waiting for an organ. I hate to say it, but and it's a wonderful thing that you can do for somebody too. But if you're signing certain things that say that they can just end your life with end of life, it might not be the best idea to do that.
Yeah, I know. It's so true. So true.
So we've got 3 minutes left. I think
Pick a
we
card
did
here.
everything.
This is the future.
Okay.
A card will tell you your future
My
in one
future.
word. Your future is unexpected income is coming your way.
Oh, I can't wait.
Hallelujah.
I cannot wait. Let's see where that comes from. Okay, I want to
Take
pick
another
one.
one. Atta girl. Message. So you're getting a message about unexpected income.
So I must have won the lottery and
You
don't know
must
it.
have and don't
Okay,
even know
try
it
that.
yet. And okay, mature man is coming. Oh boy, he's got money. Oh boy,
Very
yeah,
interesting.
lots. Of
I don't think anybody could compare to your husband or my husband, except, you know, these guys here are very comparable to.
Oh, Bob and Mike, they're
Yep.
the best.
That's right.
They're the best. Thank you.
So that's it. Do you have one last message for people? If you're interested in finding out about your future, you can call Gloria, and she'll tell you where now.
Yes.
And she's going to repeat it twice so that you can write it down.
708-567-9972. 708-567-9972.
You know, that's also a very good way to keep your memory going in your life. Like, I don't just hit buttons on my phone to call people. I call people and remember their numbers, and through repetition, Dr. Walsh at the Pfeiffer Clinic told me that I'll never lose my memory because I do that to keep my mind going.
Smart.
And you know.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, very, very wise.
Also take biotin. Biotin helps too. Because,
Really?
you know, there's acetylcholine that goes over the synapses of your nerves. When you're a child, they send you out to recess to get it going again. Well, that kind of, you know, there's less of it in your body as you get older. And I remember doing a show once when I thought I couldn't think of a word. And I thought, this can't happen to me. So I take biotin, and in 3 days, the people that I've told to do that say their memory comes back. And if you don't take it for 3 days, your memory doesn't.
Well, how do you spell that? B-I?
Biotin.
Oh, you know, they say that's real good for your hair growth.
And yes, and your nails. And evening primrose oil is very good for dry eye. They won't tell you that in medicine because there's never been a double-blind study, but I have also taken it and given other people, and it's something you can buy at the drugstore.
Primrose?
Evening primrose oil, EPO. It's something that prevents Asian women from going through the change because they eat that plant, and it's very good for you. Oh. That's it, I guess. Gloria Yorke,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us for the
my-
second time.
My pleasure. It's
Appreciate
been
it.
wonderful
I know,
talking with you.
You're a
I
very
love
good
it.
co-host. Thank you. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Good night.